Welcome, everyone. Today we have Emma, who was a participant in the Transformation program, and so excited to talk to her about her journey, her health journey, and then her journey through this program and what has evolved and what she's looking forward to. So, Emma, thank you for joining me.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So, what brought you to the program?
Well, I guess there's a bit of a story behind it because I was very fortunate to find you in 2021 when I was trying to find a functional medicine practitioner. Um, so we go back, well, I guess 5 years now.
Wow.
And you have really, I mean, you had a massive impact on my health journey through that side of your profession. And then you reached out when you were starting your course with Yoga Nidra, and it just really resonated with me when I looked into it. And also just to go alongside with my journey, I felt like there was a piece that there was a piece of the puzzle that was missing.
Mhm.
And I think it's safe to say that that was the piece. So
I'm so glad. It's the piece for a lot of people. So it kind of flips the way we think about things. So,
yes.
which is why I think it's very powerful and much needed, I think, in our culture that tends to be very heady.
I think definitely. And also just to give yourself that space. So it's something I aim to do it every day. Obviously, life happens.
Yep.
I'm a
Me
mother,
too.
so it's like I don't, that doesn't necessarily happen. But I want to do it every day because I just can feel the difference when I do. So.
Yeah. So before, what were you struggling with symptom wise, and what's been the evolution in your own thought process too with how
For
you're
sure.
approaching your
So,
health?
yeah, I mean, this will take a moment to just explain because I think it's super helpful to give a bit of my background.
Yeah.
So I was a professional squash player for 10 years. Not everybody's going to know what that is, particularly in the US.
Hmm.
It's a sport akin to kind of racquetball, and I played it from a young age. So probably from the age of 8, I started. I was a good junior, and then after college, I decided to go professional. But I'd been struggling sort of around that college time of graduating around 2021, 22. I started suffering with digestive issues. Just food would just make me bloat a lot. What people traditionally would call IBS
Hmm.
is what I was diagnosed with. So, I had that. So I started my journey playing squash, and unfortunately, it ended a little bit prematurely because I ended up being again diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome. So that was where are we now? That was 2015. So that was 11 years ago. And I still live in England at this point. And this is, a few years before meeting you. And I found a few things that helped me. So I did overhaul my diet. I found a great nutritionist in England, and we looked into things, and they did all the kind of stool testing and all that kind of thing. And I cut gluten out of my diet, and I just really stripped it all the way back to basics of fruit, vegetables, a ton of fiber, protein, really nothing else. I took out all, like I said, all gluten and all that kind of thing. And I also looked into some things around that my grandmother had died. So there was sort of an added stressor there as well.
Yeah.
So long story short, at that time in my life, I moved through chronic fatigue. Myself and my husband moved out to the States. I started a new job, and I was doing fine, right? Like I was really enjoying my new job, but I sort of still had the same approach to life that I'd had as a professional squash player, which was all in, push my
Intense.
long hours. I worked in an amazing nonprofit, but if you wanted to work hard, you could. Nobody was going to stop you. So,
Hmm.
so again, I would just constantly have things. I would pick up viruses easily. I guess what I would call now surviving, not thriving.
Yeah.
So at that period, I'm living in Chicago. I saw some functional medicine doctors there, and stuff would come back, and it would be like, oh, let's tweak this, let's try that, let's try supplements. So I did all of that. And then this is a story. And then I have my first child. So again, long story short, I quit my job. It was very intense. It wasn't compatible with having a child. We then have our second child in COVID. So August of 2020, he was born. At this point, we're living in Toledo, Ohio, not too far away from you. And he is born. All of our family are in England. So we now have two small children, basically a 2-year-old and a baby. The world is crazy. There is sort of no support network. We've lived in where we live for less than a year. And about sort of 9-10 months in, I remember speaking to my friend who was my OBGYN. I was very lucky to meet her before I was even pregnant with Jesse. And basically, I remember sitting at a kitchen table and just crying and being like, there's something wrong. And I don't know what's wrong. And of course, now looking back on it objectively, like even just those circumstances, right? Like that's a crazy time for anybody. But at that point, I had no objectivity and I couldn't be like, you know what, this is super hard. Like you've got
especially with your mindset, right? Like exactly. The way you've gone through life. Yeah.
If I just keep pushing, I'll be fine. You know,
work harder at healing.
Well, we had a family motto. Our family motto was no pain, no gain. I mean,
right.
That's helpful in some way.
Not a very nervous system lens at all.
And if you interpret it in the wrong way, obviously it's incredibly detrimental.
Yes, right.
So there I am. You know, just I would guess probably. Ironically, given that I'd had chronic fatigue almost at my lowest point, I think because of just that sense of responsibility that I now had, my body wasn't working. I had to stop breastfeeding because I literally didn't have enough for my youngest child. And that's when I met you. So it was a couple of months after that. I was traveling around again. I will say the good side of my personality is I always believe you can do something.
Yeah, so, that is good. Yeah.
So there's the plus side, right? There's always pros and cons. So I found you were at that time in Ann Arbor. So that's when we met. And again, it was just really helpful, like to have support, to go through everything and to kind of work through things. You connected me with another nutritionist and we looked into some more, you know, I tried some different things. I tried some different supplements that I hadn't before. And again, it was like, I improved, right? Like I did get better.
And for yours, like you already know this, but like at that point, my lens was not nervous system.
No.
And so you've been on the journey with me as a practitioner. As much as you've seen my evolution in my thought process along this way too.
100%. And I think what was also interesting meeting you at that time is it did feel like a meeting of minds because I'd seen another functional medicine doctor and I just thought that person doesn't get it. And it's trying to push me. So it's interesting you say that because I know what you're saying, but I could still tell something in you that I knew you understood.
Yeah.
Even if you weren't there with all of this work quite yet, there was definitely a connection, you know, to the extent that I came with you when you moved practice, because I just knew. I was like, Sarah is the one that really gets it. Yeah. So it's funny. It's like maybe I could see that. I could sense where you were going. I don't know.
It's energy, right? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. We were on the same wavelength with it. So, and also, you know, I do want to stress this stuff did help me. I think it would have been very hard for me to have gone straight into yoga nidra without all of this work. It's
divine timing in some ways, right? Like it's, because I remember our conversation after you started nervous system work and you were really shifting and it was like, oh my gosh. And I remember feeling so much guilt about not knowing this stuff beforehand. And you were like, no, I wouldn't have done it.
No, no, I wouldn't have said yes. No, I'm almost upset you even bring that up because it's like, how can you don't know what you don't know?
Yeah, but I remember, because it's such an eye opener once you look at it through that lens, and I'm like, well, then what are we doing here, with, all this stuff. But I'm like, well, on my journey too, it was the right thing to learn, to trust myself and, figure out a different way to help heal.
And and these things are multifaceted, which
Yeah.
I'm going to come on to the contents of your course later, but that is what your course does, is it covers everything.
Hmm.
Like actually, so if you just found yoga nidra,
Right.
but actually with your course you have everything in there, so it's
Yeah.
actually, it's basically a very condensed like journey in 8 months what I've been on for 11 years.
I know, because I've been studying this whole time and integrating and learning. And so, I think there's so much from me as a practitioner. I was like, there's a lot of noise out there. And what I wanted to do was create something where it's all in one place, all the different aspects of what it means to turn on your own innate healing mechanisms or stuff you may not think about that could be contributing to symptoms. And then put it in kind of one place where it is physiology backed, but then like we're using yoga nidra as a kind of our foundation basically, because when people don't feel good, their bandwidth is nothing.
Yeah.
So if we can start to restore the body and the mind, then it's much easier to shift
Yeah.
and do the other stuff. Because what I felt like is, in the initial stages of my journey as a functional medicine practitioner, it was like, we got to do all this lab testing and then we'll know what's wrong and then we'll do all the supplements and that will fix it. And it's a very reductionistic way of thinking about things. And so I clinically didn't find it to be that, like, I didn't think it shifted people as much as it should have for the amount of effort, time, all of that. So there was, like you said, like there was something that I just didn't quite figure out yet. And it kind of just led me back to ancient wisdom.
Yeah, it's amazing what what our elders knew and what we've somehow forgotten, right?
Yeah, so it's been fun putting it together and it's been fun, So on that note, like, what improvements have you seen?
Yeah, for sure. So from the start of the yoga nidra journey?
Yeah,
or...
I mean, I know you had already had improvements before
Yeah.
the actual journey, but
Yeah, so I think to just sort of clarify where I was when we started in June. So the other piece that was super helpful to me, which was again coming from you, was I did some somatic therapy.
mm-hmm.
So I really, when I say I hadn't like done any therapy before, I had done no therapy. So I had never looked into my childhood. I had never looked into any of that stuff. So that was August of, I guess, 2023 when I started that. And we started our course in June of 2025.
Yep.
So I had done, a really solid chunk, 18 months worth of therapy. So I'd really kind of dived in to why I am the way I am, why I won't bore everybody with the details, but essentially how I developed as a child, how I developed.
You were a gunner. Like you were a gunner, fire personality, right? And you knew how to push.
Yeah, and
and get things done and achieve it. Yeah.
Well, and I achieved, and I got, I'll say here now, I got to 11 in the world, but I got to 11 in the world and then I got chronic fatigue.
Yeah.
So, I think it's so easy to be like, but look at all the success. And it's like, yes, but at what cost?
Right.
And it's now I feel strongly that you can achieve still at that level, but that you can do so from such a grounded, safe space.
Yes.
Honestly, I think potential there is almost limitless.
Yes. Because I love that you said that. Yes. Because I think sometimes people think that they have to shy away from doing things in order to keep their health. And it's not true.
No.
You train that nervous system to be adaptable and learn your physiology, learn a woman's physiology, how it works.
Oh my goodness.
Then, that's power. And like what you said earlier was actually a yogic concept of self-study called swadhyaya. And so like that is part of these principles that you were studying yourself, your reactions. You knew, you went into like your history. And so yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, it's I think yeah, I think we're both you know, we both feel probably quite strongly about this.
Yeah.
That, and I will say this is a journey I'm still on. Like
It's a
learn
life journey.
Yeah, 100%. Like learning to trust yourself, um, to achieve peak performance and to not and I'm talking about peak performance just in now in the workplace, right?
Yeah.
For me, even as a parent,
Yeah.
is it's you know it's knowing that you've done the work, you've shifted, but not to shift back into that frantic push through, you know, which I mean, even just yesterday, I had a day of that.
Mhm. It happens, but the awareness is there, right? Versus like the awareness
And
not being there.
and the resilience is more.
Yeah.
Um,
And
yeah.
you're older, right? So I think this is a
Oh my
concept also like you
God.
can train this adaptability.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be related necessarily to age.
Well, I think that's what's amazing, isn't it? I think this is again like coming back to human potential. I mean, here I am. I'll share. I'm 40. So you know, I've lived, I guess, 39 years of my life in a certain way.
Yeah.
So it's going to take time, and it's going to, you know, it's going to take practice. It's not something you can just think, oh, I'm done now.
Yeah.
I think even that was the mistake I was making at the beginning. It was like, oh, I'm done now. Well, no,
Yeah.
you're not.
Right. Right. The achiever.
Yes, exactly. It's like, where's the to-do list? Let me just tick all these boxes. And it's like, that's not how it is. So to just have grace with yourself, that you're constantly, you know, that I'm gonna fall back, but also know that for myself, for my health, for my family, to show up as the best, like, you know, mum I can be, the best wife I can be, that actually like keep that journey continues, that work continues.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Because I think I was just like, well, if I do this, and that's a sports related outcome, right? Like,
sure, of course.
all these boxes, and here's the outcome. And it's like, well, you don't, like, life is messy.
Totally, yes. And that's how I think that's where my perspective of medicine also really shifted, was because, you know, in the conventional setting, lab value test, treat, lab value test, treat. And I thought functional medicine was going to be a little bit different, but it ended up still being lab value test, treat, lab value test, treat. And I was like, this is reductionistic for what a human being is. And like understanding that the perception of what our nervous system is sensing, that's driving that biology. So you can always like lift up the biology with supplements and all that. They're tools. They're great tools, right? Especially if you're you're not feeling well. But if you only do that, you're not going to reach your full potential, like you were saying.
Yeah, for sure. So just can I just scoot back to the course, because that was the question you asked me. So coming in to starting the course in June, I was in a much better place, but I was still reactionary. Mm-hmm. So things would happen. So I've sort of started a bit of a new career path, still in squash, but something that maybe I don't have a ton of experience in, something that, so therefore the self-confidence isn't as high as maybe it would be, you know, if I was playing again. And so I would get into situations where somebody may like question the way I was doing it or why I was doing it. And I had one meeting in particular, like I'm never going to forget it. It was so pivotal. It was the start of 2025, so before we started the course. And I go in and straight away I can sense from this lady that she doesn't like what I've got to tell her. Mm-hmm. And I am a reasonably outgoing, confident person, and I could feel myself getting smaller and smaller and talking quieter and quieter. And she was just, in essence, sort of just dominating the conversation. And I was just frozen. I was just, you know, I came out that meeting and I was just like, oh my goodness, like I just haven't I haven't told her what I needed to. She's got completely the wrong idea. And I, like almost what's happened. And I'm not a person to ruminate massively, but
Mm-hmm.
it took me weeks to get over
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
from that situation. And it was really, I realized
And
because
that's like in the background, your physiology is just running, right? Cortisol,
yeah,
adrenaline, all this. Yeah.
yeah, and continues to. And I'm like, why couldn't I deal with that situation? Why am I still thinking about it? And I've had a couple of instances in my life where this has happened, and I thought I was in so much of a better place, right? And I was.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like there was an example of boom, something's still not right. And I
Mm-hmm.
would also still have symptoms. Sometimes I would still sometimes symptoms would crop up,
Yeah.
stress things happen, particularly honestly with my kids who are a
Yeah.
massive reflection of you.
You have that recognition now.
So our elder child, who is just the most amazing personality, is also so hard to parent
Mm,
coming from how I was parented and where I was at, right?
yeah, right.
So all of this was kind of happening. And then you sent an email and I was like, oh, this sounds good. Oh, and I'd done a little bit of, actually way back in 2015, I'd done a little bit of kind of guided meditation.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh yes, I used to really like that. And of course,
Yeah,
all about it or whatever.
yeah.
So then we start the course and giving myself that space to practice daily.
Mm-hmm.
Just giving myself time for myself, which was something I realized I wasn't doing.
Yeah.
Certainly that reflective capacity, that really being in tune with my body.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can talk about some of the things I experienced during the course, but it's just like wild. Some of it was wild.
Yeah, do because I think sometimes people may not realize. I think sometimes people just think you rest and then that's it. But
Oh
there
yeah,
is so much happening physiologically in
yeah.
Nidra that people don't get it. So
I don't
and
think
so
you
feel
can.
free to share.
And I'm assuming everybody's journey is completely different as well, because of
Yes,
course,
yeah.
depending where you're at or whatever. I'll also say that what first attracted me to it is I've always enjoyed, like, honestly, my favorite part of yoga has always been Shavasana.
That's perfect. It's perfect.
But I realized what it was. I was like, oh yes, so I just get to lie down and do nothing for like 30 minutes.
Yes. Yes. It's so powerful.
So yeah, so I would also say that was particularly attractive to me as well. But yeah, just sort of starting out with it. So obviously I just straight away I did really enjoy it. And luckily I for whatever reason I've actually been quite good at going deep. Like I was
Mm-hmm.
just straight away reasonably good at going quite deep. But I mean, I'm laughing because it's just it is hard to explain, isn't it? And it's hard. So I'd be
Because
like,
it's a state of being, right? And so it's all experiential. You cannot put it into words. And like, you know how we kind of go, it's a sleep-based meditation. So we're slowing down the brain waves from beta to alpha to theta to delta. Normally people fall asleep at delta. But if you stay awake, this is that state called Turiya in Yoga Nidra where you just have to experience it. You cannot really put it into words. And that's why when people come out of it, it's like, I don't really know what happened, but that was cool. Or stuff happen, spontaneous healing can happen then.
it's been
Yeah.
really
So
interesting. A little sidebar, but obviously all relevant. It was really that's why I love doing the lives with you. To have however many people at a time experiencing what is in essence exactly the same session, but coming out of it and just being like, oh, this happened to me or that happened to me, and I'm
Mhm.
like, that didn't happen to
That was the fun part for me, like hearing
yeah.
everyone's experiences. So like, yeah, so actually that would be a question for you is there's tons of yoga nidras free online.
Yeah.
Why would someone want to do kind of this more structured program?
Because you can essentially fit what I learned in 10 years into 8 months. I I think what was interesting from the course was there were a lot of parallels with the people that were I could see a lot of parallels with personality types and people that were doing it. And I think
like attracts like.
we get one life,
Yeah.
right? Like you get one chance at this, essentially. And if you are interested in living the best way you can, being the best version of yourself, and I don't even just mean that for you, I mean that for your friends, I mean that for your family. Like, oh gosh.
Oh.
Yeah.
It must feel good to be in
Yeah.
a space where you probably didn't know you could be at.
100%. And I think, and the reason I'm emotional is because of the impact, right? Like, you know, talking about that impact, talking about the differences that I've seen, and that, you know, particularly the impact that is close to me as well, especially being a mum. I don't really know why you wouldn't why you wouldn't want that in your life. And I think, you know, yes, you can, it's like with anything, right? It's like YouTube is amazing. You can teach yourself everything, but you can teach yourself everything to a certain extent. And it's what you have with your course is your, you know, all the training that you've been through, whether that's medical school or now with the, you know, with all the nervous system and the yoga Nidra stuff, which by the way should be in medical school, but anyway, side note.
I know. Hopefully we'll get it there.
I feel like day one.
Yeah.
So in essence, you are getting an expert in the field to guide you through a journey, but such a comprehensive journey. Okay, so some of those weeks that you were on the modules, you know, were things that I'd done with you as a functional medicine practitioner. You just picked every part of health and you just took a dive into it, and you gave everybody that option. And I'm sure for some people it was maybe it was too much, and that's why I love that you're offering different versions where you can go all in for your 8 months, or maybe you can do a lighter touch if you're just not there right now.
Yeah.
You know, you talked about bandwidth earlier. Yeah. I was in a place to go and dive in with that, with the 8-month course. And I think if you want the true healing, then that's what you need to do, because you need to really look at everything.
Yeah, and I think there's so much power in community. I think it's really isolating doing it alone. And everyone's struggling with the same things. So it was like, why not just do it together and know that you're safe, you're supported, and there's no judgment. And let's do it together. It's much easier.
I remember one of the women like having just her kids there.
Yeah, like, it was great. I love, yeah.
It's like, you know, here's life, here's, you know, and actually one of the wonderful things, because I think it would be really easy to be like, no, I need to do this somewhere where I'm like, I have no noise, I have no distraction. Yeah. And like, I'll tell you right now, like I do it while my kids are watching TV after school. I'm lying there, I can hear all sorts of things coming from the TV, and I'm still like lying there doing it. And like sometimes my 5-year-old will come in and be like, like, Mummy, like the other day someone was at the door and he was coming in and he was like, Mummy, there's somebody at the door. You know, and it's like, but
that's life, right? And yoga is training for life.
Well, and I think maybe the former me would have turned around and been like, I need this time, like get out my room, like this is my only 30 minutes away from you guys, you know, that kind of attitude. But the work is like, oh, okay, that's fine, you know, all right, maybe I just got to get up now and answer the door, or maybe, you know, or, oh, it's okay, there's some noise, but I'll keep going.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Just that process, I know, like you wouldn't even think of, right? Like you wouldn't even think that would be an aspect to it.
That's so powerful.
But it is. It's, you know, and this stuff can be done anywhere, you know.
Yeah.
There's been times when I've used the breathing techniques, you know, in stressful situations or whatever. So, yeah. Yeah,
there's so many different techniques. I guess one last question I have for you is, you mentioned some interesting things happen along your journey with
Oh
the
yes.
practice. So, like, what were those?
Okay. So a lot of basically what you kind of told me, like what is happening, really moving. So a lot of tingling, a lot of and also just I guess also relevant. One of the things I was struggling with was panic and anxiety. So I would feel things in my body, and then there'd be a bit of overwhelm and that kind of thing. And what I could really feel, or what I do still feel with Yoga Nidra, although I will say less because I guess I've moved a lot of people,
Hmm.
although obviously life happens daily, so there's always stuff. But was just a lot of tingling, a lot of like I would get this, my ears would totally block up.
Mm.
Yeah, a lot of tingling. And then I will share probably, and I think I remember messaging you, direct messaging you twice during,
Hmm.
because there were two moments. So I think it's good to share these.
Yes, yeah.
What is happening?
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's the importance of the guidance because, like, if you don't, sometimes if you practice and scary, like it can seem scary, some stuff that happens, then you could easily be like, it's not for me or it
And
doesn't work.
also not having that person to ask. Like,
Yes.
like if I'd had these experiences and not had somebody to ask, I would have been probably pretty scared.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
So, but because of the education you give around it, you understand it. And
Right.
even then, I still messaged you because I was
No,
like,
it's good. It's good. I mean, that's what it's for. That's why there's a live component to it.
yeah. So the two things were when we did left right body
Yes,
rotation,
I remember that. Yeah.
and I guess for people that are maybe watching this that haven't gone on this journey yet, the right side is your masculine, the left side is your feminine, the right side is the doer, the left side is the kind of, more gentle,
Receiver. Yeah.
receiver, more gentle energy. And the first time we did the right left body rotation, I was literally like, I cannot feel my left side. I couldn't feel it. I was there in the Yoga Nidra being like, where is it?
Hmm.
We would do the right body parts and I'd be feeling them all, and then we go to the left and be like, I can't feel my left side. And I remember coming out of it and being like,
Yeah.
and you just sharing that I've obviously lived my life from this
Yeah.
masculine energy for so long that my body is like, where's this left side stuff?
Yeah. Right.
And I had a pelvic floor issue, and a lot of that was coming from the left side, the left
Hmm.
side not being connected and all that kind of thing. So that was one. And then the second really powerful one for me was the brain heart coherence.
Hmm. That one's powerful.
That was, and I felt it a bit, I think, in the live, but then I started doing the daily practice with that one. And that's when I had to message you, because I was like, I was just feeling pain in my heart.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
obviously you feel pain in your heart and you're like, oh my goodness. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and you just said to me, the heart's built a lot of protection around yourself. You've protected yourself for so long. You haven't been vulnerable. You haven't given yourself grace, all that kind of thing. And this work is just helping to break that down and to just connect. And this is one I still do all the time, by the way, to connect the heart and the brain.
Hmm.
I do these are the two areas I still really focus on: the left and the right, and the heart and the brain.
Great.
Because for me, that's what it is. My default is masculine energy, and it's also just not being in my body and connecting those.
And to be fair, that's like a lot of our society. That
Yeah.
was me too.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point. I think you could easily beat yourself up about you being the way you are, but it's also how we're conditioned.
Yeah, it's really a reflection of like our conditioning. And I think why I had so much fun with putting this together once you realize like you can change your neural pathways
Yeah,
and change the way you look at the world, and then you have a different physiology.
yeah,
It
and
will require you to move a little bit differently throughout the world, and you might not be going with what society tells you is right, So be prepared for that, I would say. Like if you're not really ready for that, I don't know, but may not be the right time for you to do the program, but
Change in your,
yeah.
it is will 100% change how you see the world and what ripples out from that.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that major life shifts might happen.
Yeah.
Because, well, you're an example, right? Like it does. You will, when you shift your perspective and way of being in the world, it could be that some of those things no longer serve you. Well,
Yeah.
when you live your life the way, even the people you're around.
Yeah.
That's been interesting to me too. Is it's the people that lift you up as opposed to the people, what kind of space do you want to live your life through?
Right. Drag you down. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm so glad you have been a part of this journey. Like it's been like amazing to see your evolution in this process and to continue to see the evolution. And if there's anything else you want to share, let me know.
I just think a massive thank you for doing this work. I think it's easy to do this work and then feel like you want to change everybody else.
That's a really good point.
And I think that's definitely something that I've gone through. Has been struggling to like, oh well, if I'm doing this, why can't everybody else see it or do it? And just know that not everybody is necessarily going to see it from that point of view, but that the work you do ripples out. So the fact that you're taking this out to whoever wants to do it, wherever they might be around the world, it's those little ripples.
Yes. Yeah.
And if there's one thing that we need in society right now, it's it's to change the way human beings view this amazing thing called life. And that's the work that you do. So
thank you.